Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to PaulOnSports.com. It's the NFC and AFC Championship weekend. CU's going to the Super Bowl, and Louisville, Kentucky, and Western Kentucky. Some big games ahead for their local college teams on the hardwood. Let's get to the action first on the hardwood. Kentucky coming off a huge upset win, which we thought would happen last week. We said, watch out, Cats can do it down in Tennessee, and boy did they ever. 54 record-breaking points from Jody Meeks, who was outstanding in that game. They took care of business against Tennessee, and frankly, as I've talked about with our producer extraordinaire, Jeremy, big UK fan that he is, he thinks that UK can run the table in the SEC conference. They could. SEC's not looking really strong, and the next two opponents for Kentucky, Georgia and Auburn, look to be very beatable. I think Kentucky wins both games quite handily. Georgia goes down 81-68, and Kentucky takes care of Auburn 75-66. Those are the two picks. Keep watching the development of Jody Meeks and Patrick Patterson. Some formidable scoring from those two guys. On to Louisville. The number one team in the country comes into Freedom Hall. The Pitt Panthers, number one in basketball, the best team in the Big East, undefeated, comes to Freedom Hall this Saturday night to play Louisville, and Louisville is playing their best basketball of the season right now. Big win over Notre Dame. The Cards just exhausted the Irish point guard and their backcourt. They shut them down at the end of the game. The defense was stellar, and they came up with big plays on the offensive end when they needed them. But mostly, you got to watch Louisville's defense. That's the fuel for this surging team right now. Do they have enough to beat Pitt? Yes. Can they beat Pitt? Yes. Will they beat them? No. I just think Pitt has a little too much, a good strong team, a little too much talent, but more importantly, Pitt knows how to win these games. They've played them. They know how to win them. Louisville needs to learn how to win these games, and I think a very, very close loss here. I'm going to call it a 1-point win for the Pitt Panthers, even though I think Louisville still, that Freedom Hall crowd, can pull the upset, and just might. And the other game Louisville has next week, they play Rutgers on the road. Rutgers gave them trouble last year on the road. Louisville's going to have to defend the 3, and they will. They'll do that well. Let's call it a 10-point win for the Cards over Rutgers. And on to Western. Tough breakdown in Florida. They won one and they lost one. The game they lost was by 1 point, and it was close down there. But this week they come home, Middle Tennessee State and New Orleans. I think it's two big wins for Western Kentucky there. And the Hilltoppers take 2 wins in the Sun Belt Conference, 80-71 over MTSU, and over New Orleans, 73-60, as Western rounds into form in their conference play. Now on to the NFL, the championship games. Who's going to the Super Bowl? You've got Philadelphia at Arizona Sunday at 3 o'clock. The Eagles and their vaunted defense going to put a lot of pressure on Kurt Warner at quarterback. Kurt Warner doesn't move well, so he's going to have to get that ball out of his hands quickly and into the hands of his playmakers, the outstanding, best in the NFL wide receiver, Larry Fitzgerald. Anquan Bolden will be coming back to help the Cardinals offense. And their coach, Ken Whisenhunt, he knows how to win these games. He was the offensive coordinator with the Steelers when they lost the AFC Championship in 2004, when they won the Super Bowl in 2005. He knows how to win these games and scheme to beat that defense from Philadelphia. Now, Philadelphia crushed Arizona on Thanksgiving night at the Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. They crushed them handily. I don't think they'll be able to crush them this week, but I had the Philadelphia defense. They remind me a little bit of the Giants last year. That defense just comes in waves. Their front four just keeps putting pressure. Arizona's going to need a big game from Edger and James to slow down that rushing attack from the Eagles. But I just see Philadelphia winning by a little bit, 24-23. And I would not be surprised, though, folks, to see Arizona come up with a win here. But there's the pick, 24-23, Philadelphia over Arizona. And then finally, Baltimore Ravens, Pittsburgh Steelers. What more could you want in a football game? It's the championship game for the AFC. These teams have played each other twice. They've beaten, bloodied, and bludgeoned each other to death in those two games. There will be a lot of talk this week leading up to it, but I think the Steelers are the fresher, better team right now. The Steelers played 5 games, then they had a bye. Then they played 11 games, and then they had a week off for the playoffs. They had the playoff bye. Meanwhile, Baltimore has played 17 straight weeks because their bye came in week 2 during Hurricane Ike, and they had to readjust their schedule. They're a tired team. You saw Tennessee move up and down the field on them, only to give the ball away at the goal line 3 different occasions. And that really hurt the Titans. Hey, I don't think the Steelers will do that. I think the Steelers will be able to move the ball. They're just the stronger team, and you watch them get after rookie quarterback Joe Flacco from the Ravens and force him into a couple of turnovers, which the Steelers will probably turn into points. I like the Steelers in this game, 23-14. So it could be an all-Pennsylvania Super Bowl. It could be Arizona with the former Steelers coaches coaching against their former team. We'll see how it all shakes out. Thanks for watching, everybody. And hey, if you have any questions, comments, or your own predictions, just click on the link right below this box, paulonsports.com. We'll see you next week, everybody. Have a great week. Thank you, Jeremy.